Hello guys, you're already live here. Don't know if you can hear me very well. Just setting up to make it easy for me to follow along with you. And guys, if you like to follow me as I move through the novels, you can access my website, mayadekeeper.me. Let me see if I can write here with my phone. Let me see. I don't know what's happening, but I'm never able to write here on the phone. But if you go to mayadekeeper.me/calculator, you can find my calculator, and if you just put in today's novel, you can already see the graphics of the snake, so it will be helpful for you to follow along with me. And so yeah, we have 4 people here. One more time, guys, really sorry for this late notice live, because usually I do in the final day of the Trecena, but this past Trecena has been very hectic, and today was the only time I could fit in to do the analysis. I hope it's not compromising your time to join me here in this live. Also, with the live, if you have questions, I'll be here to answer anything you have to ask. This is going to be our 20th analysis. We're going to be completing like the full round of the Trecena analysis, but I will be continuing with the lives, even though I'm going to be having other videos talking about the Trecenas that you can still compare. I think this live approach, this live touch between us is always great, because I can sow some doubts if you have. So I think it's better for everybody. And now that is already 3 minutes of live. Hello, Alana. Nice to see you. I think I haven't seen you here. Bom dia, Urban Toltec. Good morning, my friend. Nice to see you in here. And I hope you had like a good past Trecena. I hope it wasn't a complicated one for you, as was for me in here. Of course, every one of us, there is always a Trecena that is like a pain in the ass, but it's life. There is nothing we can do about it sometimes. But today you're gonna be just read here. Usually I cannot tell because you usually do. Yes, Alana, usually I do in the evenings, because most of the people who follow me come from the US, but I know that some of you that are in Europe, the time doesn't quite help. I'm in Brazil, so for me it doesn't matter like what time, but I always try to do at least something that can work for most of people. But now that it's the first time that I do this in the morning, depending on how it goes, if I have like enough people, I can start adapting some other time for you and other people to join as well. And so before let's already start. We have already 5 minutes of live. Today we are going to be starting the Oshlahu Naor Trecena, the 13 Thoughts Trecena. The past Trecena, there was the 1E, 1 Pathfinder to 13 Burning to Ash Trecena, was the Trecena that we spoke about the new path that would accumulate sacrifices, that would make us to do hard decisions or hard cuts for us to free our bag, to free the sacrifices that we do, because sometimes we can end up getting extenuated, we can end up getting exhausted if you don't have a good time control with our tasks. That's what was the Trecena of Oshilahukat talking about, the accumulation of tasks or the accumulation of debits that ended up making us feeling heavy. Especially because we always speak about, accumulating stuff that sometimes are not very necessary for ourselves. Sometimes we tend to enter into some stuff to help the other people. We ended up, making worse or making it hard for us to achieve our own things. So the past Trecena was about to start a new path, but light. It was about to cut the things we were accumulating that were making us heavy or were extenuating our energy. The now cut is one of the nows that we talk about the transformation, but we talk about the transformation of the woman during the pregnancy. It's about the energy that she burns to give life to something else. That's the true essence of the now cut. And always going to be talking about the things that we are accumulating, or the things or the energy we spend to give life to other people, or just to sustain a project. Just like we have to pay our monthly bills. So that's a now cut thing, because you always have to worry about that. Like we have another now that talks about the fire, that is the now toch, but that's going to talk about when we do the sacrifice, but it's for ourselves. So depending on how the past Trecena went for you, if you ended up being able to cut the things that were making you heavy, if you ended up being able to free yourself and to free your path of the heavy things or the heavy bad habits that you accumulated, now this Trecena you can start lighter to make more plans, to make, to have like, to organize yourself way better, to see where the ideas, fit. So this Trecena is going to be great for you to do this intervention, especially if you were like out of touch, like if you took some time, to re-enter the path of the Maya calendar. This can be an amazing Trecena for you to start organizing stuff, for you to see where everything is gonna fit. This Trecena is very masculine. We're gonna be talking about the process of the organization, synthesizing, see where everything really connects. But one thing that we need to be aware in this Trecena is going to be our emotional side, because sometimes our insecurities, especially if we didn't handle that in the past Trecena. If in the past Trecena, the one that we just finished, was the Trecena we ended up, accumulating, exhaustion. We ended up, if we started like with a melancholy, we ended up not being able to treat or to cut those strings. Maybe this one we can start a little bit more nervous. So that's one of the stuff that we need to be aware, like while flowing with this Trecena, because this is going to be having like a very masculine energy from the beginning to the middle and to the end. It's going to be all masculine. If you have already my website open in your screen, you can see that this Trecena is going to be starting with Hun Kan, one stellar serpent. So one stellar serpent is going to be talking about a new intervention. So it's going to be a new path to intervene in order to get the things organized, because that's the now that's going to rule this Trecena is going to be Oshlahu Naor, the 13 thoughts or 13 knowledge. So it's gonna be a new path of a new intervention that can can lead us to a big plan, or ended up accumulating like a great knowledge. So it can be like a new way or a new wisdom to lead life that can ended up accumulating us a big knowledge, ended up making us making really intense interconnections about our path or about something that we are studying, or anything related to that. So if we are able to cut all the stuff that we're having in the past Trecena, we're going to be starting this one with Hun Kan being this new intervention. So you already set yourself free. Now you have more room to start and intervene towards the things you wanted to achieve in your life. So it's always, way better if you are able to plan things ahead, if you're able to see where we're going to walk, to make sure like everything is going to be like we can cover like any trapped along the path. We make sure like we know what we are doing, because in the Maya calendar there is no such a thing of being like the superstition. We were always talking about connecting the facts. Sometimes if you think about, oh, I'm not making money, or my business is not going well, or my relationship hasn't been working, but it always makes us question is, are we doing the right stuff? Are we aware of the steps we are taking? So have we been, organized with the stuff that we are doing? So there is always this thing that we need to ponder, because if something, if you are starting this Trecena stressed or furious, is because something happened in the past Trecena, you didn't deal that with very well. So now it's just a repercussion. So depending on how the past Trecena went for you, we're gonna be seeing this one just taking the control and start developing even further. So if it was the Trecena you accumulated extenuation or heaviness in your bag, or accumulating debts, now this one, of course, you're gonna be starting nervous. It can be something that can make you get sick. And in the final day in this Trecena, if you don't treat as well, if you don't do the right intervention, you can get yourself inflamed. So it can go into physical stuff. And that can be dangerous, especially in this Trecena. Because if you don't treat stuff from the inside, they're gonna come to the outside. It's gonna be a repercussion. So this Trecena is gonna be a matter of, organizing, to see all this stuff that we need to handle, to see how we can proceed, how A is going to be connecting to B. That's something that's now is going to be talking about. It's like when you scan something to see what's going on, to see what is inside, so you can analyze in a better way to see what's going on. Just like when you go to the doctor and you have to do the x-ray or the exams to scan what's the inside to see what's going on. So now is going to be, like this big organization where you can see where all the threads connect between each other. So you can see where everything is going wrong, and you can do the right intervention to make it right. If it's that clear, we can continue with the Trecena analysis. If I'm talking too fast, you can just write me something in there. If you have any questions that arrive while I'm talking to an owl, you can just write here in the chat, and we can go following this Trecena together. Right on. So before I start, I just need to ask you guys, if you are not subscribed, just please subscribe to my channel, because that's something that's going to be helping me a lot, all this effort that I've been doing through these years. And also, if you click the like button to show the YouTube that this live is being relevant for you, I also appreciate a lot. And let's just start with our analysis. So now, today we are starting with Hunkan, one stellar serpent. This is going to be the beginning of a new intervention, the beginning of a new theory. Now, Hokan is always related to the power of the sky. It's just like the sound of the thunder they announce changes. So it's going to be announced changes just like in nature when the dry season is going to change for the wet season. That is the power of the thunder it just comes and announced that is the power of the sky. So now Khan is always going to be talking about an intervention, because you need a change. Like a change maybe to avoid a counterflow that may be appearing. So depending on the stuff that we are analyzing, could be a relationship, could be something in your personal projects, something around your family. Now Khan we'll talk about something that may be making you furious. Maybe, or something that you have to change before it gets more complicated later on. So it's going to be like the first sign to make a new change. So, and to see like what we need to change, because of course from time to time, life requires us to change a little bit. Of course, you all love it to be in our comfort zones, and just to find the right flow and just you stick with that into the very end, but life doesn't work that way. Sometimes we have to intervene, sometimes we have to change some stuff, and that's what now Khan is going to be talking about. Sometimes these changes are not going to be, we're not going to be feeling pleasure in doing that, but they are going to be necessary to avoid something that can become complicated later on, or can become inflamed, as we are talking about in this Trecena. Because if we don't change, we can end up getting entangled, we can end up getting suffocated about the stuff we didn't want to see. That's why it's so important for us to make sure we know where we're walking, to make sure like we know how to collect all the facts and see like how they organize all together. So in this way, we can walk our life, in a better way. We have like more awareness of the things that are going on. So this is going to be the first step of the Trecena to start this new change of transformation. It's going to be like, could be a day if you are stuck with some stuff of the heaviness, or you've been dedicating your life, to other people, and you see your life not moving as you want it to do. One stellar supper can be a perfect day for you to say it's enough, for you to start, just bringing some changes, that are necessary before you start getting sick, because you don't know how to handle that. So one stellar serpent is going to be this new intervention. And moving from one stellar serpent, we go to Keb Kame, two ancestors. Now, two ancestors are going to be talking about the retraction for support, the retraction, to calculate the support that we need, or the help that we're going to be needing this Trecena. Or maybe it's going to be the time for taking one step back for the previous Trecena or the previous cycle, to see what went wrong and see how we can correct that. If we started the Trecena with the fears, with the fury of Khan, now two Kame can be talking about something that can be retracting, that is making you suffer. Sometimes it cannot be something very like that you can see right away. Sometimes it can be over there, but if you don't take care, it's going to be growing inside of you. So if there is something bothering you, like something like that happened before, that's the time where you can use Kame to acknowledge the stuff that are making you suffer, the stuff that are making you feel with your heart very heavy. Remember that this is a very masculine Trecena, like some stuff that we need to make it more rational. But of course, we cannot squeeze the emotional side, because not everything is rational in this life. So we need to be aware of the stuff that we are holding, or like what we are feeling as well. Because that's going to be adding to the organization. That will be adding to the decisions we gotta take in this Trecena. So Tukame is going to be talking about the retraction of the ancestors. It's going to be a good day, for you to take one step back, or just to load off a little bit, or just to start to calculating what's been making you suffer. Or it could be a good day for you to take a walk in nature, to see, like if you get some insights from the ancestors, to see if your intuition talks to you about like where you want to take your life. So it could be a good day for you to retract, to listen to the ancestors. To listen to the support that they can provide you, like a sense of where should you take your life from this day on, or how could you build, what stuff that you have to worry in this Trecena. So two ancestors are going to be talking about this moment to take one step back, to calculate how you're going to approach this Trecena, knowing the stuff that you gotta change some stuff, but also being aware of the stuff that you are holding on inside, like these emotional aspects that have been, making you furious, or have been making you angry lately. So it's gonna be could be a good time for you to retract, to see if you can get support from the people around you. Now Kame talks about like the emotional support that our loved ones can have with us, like when someone wishes you well, they doesn't necessarily need to be there, just talking to you all the time, but that deep there, they care about you. So that's very important to give us courage to move forward, to make sure we have this, this support. So two ancestors is the retraction to obtain support before moving forward. And then we're gonna move to Oshibker, 3 deer. Now 3 deer is gonna be opening the path for the spiritual strength. Of course, if there is something that we gotta to change, the change must come from inside out. If you are feeling furious, you're feeling like overwhelmed or very completely mentally stressed, that this Trecena can accumulate, like overthinking, like whenever you are overthinking too much about this stuff, you just think about this stuff, but you don't take any action. You just accumulate ideas that just can end up accumulating stress. So the secret in this Trecena is just to walk, in balance with your spiritual side, with your emotional side as well. To make sure like you do conscious decisions, but also you feeling well emotionally. And if something started just bothering you, now we need to open the path by becoming stronger on the inside. Like 3 deer is gonna be opening the path for the spiritual strength. If we had like a good insights taken from Kame, the now of the ancestors, now Ker can be the one that gives us the strength necessary to open the path for the stuff that we gotta do. So it's gonna be a great day for you to connect, to do your ceremonies, to do a walk in nature, to talk to the wind, to ask for stuff, or to ask for the strength for you to carry on in this Trecena. Because the more we strengthen ourselves from inside, we're gonna be stronger mentally, emotionally, and be more able and more balanced to make conscious decisions. Now Ker is the now of the deer that connects to the altar, the stability in 4 legs. So it's about the spiritual strength to make you balanced. So if you're not balanced, we're not gonna be able to make this organization that this Trecena refers. If we are not balanced, we're not going to be able to do the right actions that are necessary for the changes we need to bring in this Trecena. So it's going to be the perfect day for you to start just kicking in, just giving like an extra push in the Trecena to do this stuff. So if you feel that this Trecena is taking you like the worst of you, you can use Ker to treat yourself spiritually, to start just moving the flow of this Trecena. But if things are going right, 3 Ker can be an amazing day for you to work a little bit more, or just to give more strength into that, to make sure everything is more organized, it's going to be more solid to continue growing. Just like if you're talking about projects, if you're just using the calendar to invest in your personal stuff, 3 deer can be an amazing day for you to do some actions. It's gonna be it's gonna be carrying this powerful energy of Ker. And then moving from 3 deer, we're gonna go to 4 Kenil, 4 seeds. Now 4 is the now that stops, or the now of the pause. Just like after the water that opens the path is gonna fall into a pool of water, it needs to accumulate more strength. Sometimes can be something that can get stuck. For example, if we do not do anything, if the deer talks about like being reluctant, of not wanting to move, and for any reason you didn't want to move the path, of course right now you're gonna be feeling stuck. And feeling stuck after the now 4 deer is gonna be talking about you have been feeling stuck with your anxiety, with your reluctancy. And now we'll be talking about intoxication. Intoxication in Kenil talks as just like when you apply so much fertilizers into the plant that it can kill the plant. So it's how you dose stuff. Kenil is the now of the potential of something to germinate. Like the seed is only carries the potential of becoming like a huge tree. So it's going to be needing like the right amount of water, to make the seed sprout and start growing. but it's always about the dosage. If you don't dose like the water you apply into the seed, you can make the seed rotten. And on us, we can apply that whenever we use stuff to get a better performance. For example, when we overdose coffee, like can sound silly because everybody, all the world drinks coffee, and we love having that in the morning, to helping waking us up. Or some people is not like that way, but it can be an addiction, can be something that can add to the intoxication of canoe. But not only that, we can also use like the pills that we use, or to calm us down, or to make us more awake or more focused. Everything that we ingest that can enhance our productivity can enter into this realm of canoe. And sometimes, if you are stressed, you are just taking, Novocaines for calm you down. That can be something that can make you, just being stuck with this intoxication side. And in this Trecena, as we are talking about this big plan, we are talking about just seeing like how everything connects around the pillars of our life. Canoe can be one of the nows that we will talk about our health, how we are dealing our health, like we are taking care about our health. Because of course, like there is no problem if you do a little bit of something, but canoe can end up showing us that we are just stuck or just become addicted to something that long term is not going to be good for our health. So it's going to be a good time for us to establish, to see how much stuff we are ingesting, if we're not getting into addictions, because only to surpass this mental stress we have to deal with, or the interventions and everything. Or I can also talk about like whenever you're not able to produce. Canoe also talks about productivity, whenever you have to do the stuff that you gotta do, the organization. If you do not move, nothing's gonna be coming out of that. Just like the seed's not gonna be sprouting. So for canoe is gonna be the day that you can stop to make a balance, to make the control of the stuff that you are taking, to correct like the dose of the stuff that you are doing. Sometimes you are working too much. That's not gonna be good for your health. Can be good for sometimes for your business, but not necessarily for your health. So it can be a good day for you to see like if there is alternatives that you can start adapting in order to make the flow runs more smoothly, more healthy, and avoid this intoxication side of the Nawal canoe. And then moving from Kahib canoe, we go to Hob Toch, 5 fire. Now 5, as I always say in this Trecena analysis, is the day where things can go sideways. It's gonna be like the rudest flow of the Trecena. Just like when the dam breaks, there is nothing you can do to contain that amount of water. It's only to sit down and watch the destruction. And now Toch is going to be talking about the now of the sacrifices that we do to achieve power in order for us to conquer something for us. Remember, now Kat, that was the ruler of the past Trecena, talks about the sacrifices, but the sacrifices we use our energy to help the other. But this time now Toch talks about the stuff that we do for ourselves. If now Kat talks about the bills, the monthly bills that we gotta pay every month to sustain something, now Toch is gonna be talking about after you finish to pay the mortgage of your house, then it's yours. Like it costs you, many years of sacrificing yourself, but then later it's yours. Like it's like you got like the power. It's when you finally, achieve what you wanted. But it talks about like what it costs to you. It can cost your mental health. It can cost, your physical health as well. That's why now Toch is connected to is now also associated with sickness, with blood, efforts, like the sacrifices that we do. So it's always going to be complicated in that matter. So in this Trecena that we're going to be talking about, this is very heavy in a masculine aspect of doing the organization, see where everything fits. like now Thor is gonna be like the one responsible for make things, succeed in this Trecena. So 5 fire is gonna be like the overflow of the sacrifices, the overflow of power. Like the more organized we are, like the more control we're gonna have, and the more likely we're gonna be able to achieve the power of the things that we want. Whenever we are able to see how everything connects to each other, it becomes easier for us to see where we are going. So what's going to be the traps we need to worry about. So we reduce the possibilities of surprises to come, to destroy our projects, the stuff that we have been dedicating ourselves. So how Talk's going to be talking about like this rude power, like this rude power that can end up, being like the responsible one for you to make this big organization, or for you to have this big knowledge. Only after we put ourselves into the practice, or we're putting ourselves into action of having to go through this hard sides of life, sometimes whenever we suffer, but it's through this big suffering that we can accumulate this big knowledge, this big experience, to make sure like we're not gonna be falling like again when the next time it happens. So can be a rude now, can be a now that can be like very careful, especially with injuries, because if you do not pay now talk correctly, it's gonna collect by collecting your health. And as now Kat talks about the life is a debit, now Toch is the one that collects. He's gonna be the one is gonna take something from you. Whenever, even if you don't do anything at home, if you're just chilling, this is how the things is gonna come and collect at the end. So this can be a very auspicious day for you to start just giving like an 130% of your efforts. You will work harder in order to make this big organization in this Trecena. But you have to be careful with what you let to now talk. So it's always good if you are able to open the path, strongly spiritually, for being able to handle all this pressure that now talk is gonna bring with the now 5. So that's one now to be very aware, because this can be a very rude now. And then moving from Hop Toch, we're gonna go to Wakipti, 6 dog. Now 6 is the heart of the Trecena, is the moment of the Trecena where you put things into perspective, to ponder, to ponder before making a decision. And now T is going to be talking about the emotions, especially the emotional confusion. If we started this Trecena with the things that it may need to change or may need an intervention, sometimes if it's related to relationships, it's gonna be having like this emotional aspect that's gonna be playing into action. That sometimes is gonna be interrupting our rational side. Sometimes we know what's gonna be the best, but the emotional aspects is gonna be like a extra heaviness that you now is not gonna be able to comprehend completely. That's why that's the now 6 we talk about as where the dramas of the Trecena lives. So in the Trecena we talk about this big organization, this big rational stuff that now we talk about. The drama is gonna be in the emotional side. It's gonna be like an association of the mind talking to the heart. Like they both cannot understand each other, but they need to work in balance. So that's gonna be like the perfect connection between 6C and 13 now. So this is gonna be talking about like the stuff that you have been holding on inside of you, holding on in your heart, like the confusions you are carrying. Sometimes you need an intervention, but if you don't want to let go, because now Tsiken talks about emotional attachment to a person, to a situation, or maybe someone's doing you bad things, but it's still you don't have the strength of letting go of the situation. You weren't able to cut in the previous Trecena. So now if you let until 6 dog arrive into that, you can end up seeing some complications in your plan, because that will affect all the other areas in your life. So it's gonna be pondering the emotions you are carrying in your heart. That's gonna be talking about the NLT. So it's gonna be a great day for you to sit down and see, how you feel about the stuff, how you feel about your work, how you feel about your friends around you, the people you offer your loyalty. So that's gonna be this stuff in this Trecena for you to put into consideration. Of course, we don't have just to take everything rationally, because sometimes the emotional stuff is gonna surprise us and it makes us do stupid things, but we cannot overlook them. But we need to weigh that. So that's why 6Z is gonna be talking about the weight of the emotions. So if we don't do that, we're not gonna be able to do a good organization at the accumulation of this Trecena. So 6 dog is going to be talking about just putting the emotions, into consideration before you taking a decision, making a decision. And then moving from 6 dog, we go to 7 monkey, 7 threads, ukub bats. Now 7 is going to be talking about the climax of the Trecena. It's the hottest part. It's like the middle point. We already walked like halfway through the Trecena, like we walked enough to see where things are going to accumulate. Now it's going to be only a matter for the time to catch up. You see this stuff accumulating, but you already walked enough to see like what's the Trecena is going to be about. So this Trecena is going to be accumulating this plan, accumulate knowledge to intervene into something. So now bats, the monkey or the thread, is going to be talking about putting things into action, to make a decision, to do the action in order for this big plan, in order for you to do what is necessary to do the intervention that you maybe start sensing at the beginning of the Trecena. So it's going to be like the hard, like the intense actions that are necessary to do. And the more organized we are, the easier are going to be to do these actions, to make these decisions, to do this work. So after the ponderation of the emotions, now we are able to do the final decision, the final work, or the final action that now Bats talks about. Now Bats is the thread that connecting the dots, like the thread of ideas or work that we got ourselves into. So it's about it's now of the arts and spirituality. But whenever we talk about creativity in Bats, is the creativity of making solutions, of coming into a solution of something that you couldn't resolve, or being creative to find a way out of a situation you weren't able to find before. So that's the real essence of the creativity of Nawal Bats. And of course, if you are just flowing free with the Trecena, if everything is just going to the auspicious aspect of the Trecena, of course you can use Bats only to load off and just to invest yourself artistically. Because sometimes maybe that's what you need. Maybe that's going to be the therapy you need, just to dedicating your time to creative stuff that can calm you down, that can take your mind away from the things that are making you feeling heavy. Because this Trecena, you can accumulate so many thoughts that can let you overthinking too much. But the secret of this Trecena is to put things in action. Sometimes you want things to be extra perfect, just to fit everything perfectly. But the only thing for us to find out if the organization is going to be right, if everything really fits, is to putting things into action. How we can intervene into a situation is just taking a decision, just making an action. Like sometimes it can be hard, sometimes emotions can weigh too much, just like as we were seeing in the 6 dog. But now 7 monkey is going to be talking about this hard or these intense, actions that we gotta do. Otherwise, it's going to be something that is going to be leading us into frustration in this Trecena. So you can end up getting entangled with so many ideas. That's why we cannot be overthinking too much in this Trecena for not overloading your organization. And then from 7 bats, seventh thread or seventh monkey, we go to Washakib E8 Pathfinder. Now it's gonna be, we are in the time, in the moment of the Trecena where it returns. So the Trecena is gonna be restarting. So every now 8 is the restart of the Trecena. It's just like you're just coming back from the start, but now it's gonna be feeling as you already walked the path before. So you kind of know what to do. So you have more peace of mind to see where things are going. And now it's just a matter for us to see the Trecena accumulating until the 13. So 8 is going to be the return, just like when the rainy season returns in the highlands, like they are stronger. They are more prepared, especially, for the agricultural purposes. It's going to be like the time where you can really prepare yourself. You can really see things, taking more volume. And now E is going to be the now of the path, the now of the giving us a purpose or a meaning of something. So it's going to be then the return of the path, is the return of the road, the return of the meaning. Because sometimes it takes us, a moment for us to getting organized, to see how everything fits together, to see what is the meaning behind of that. So just like the last time we saw the now E was in the now 1 of the 13K Trecena. But sometimes when we start something new, we don't know the challenges we're going to have ahead. We don't know, how things are going to end up, wrapping like after some time. But now when the 8 returns, now that the paths return, 20 days has passed, you kind of know what is already going to be that about. Sometimes, it's not going to be having the meaning that you previously gave. So you have to walk a little bit the path until it returns for you to see, oh, that's gonna be the path that I'll be constantly walking through this cycle following the now E. So you already know what's gonna be the heavy stuff, like what's gonna be the stuff that is not gonna be very pleasurable for you. So in this Trecena that we can need to bring or just to collect this organization, is how we start seeing like what is the path that we are really going to be walking. So it's going to be a return of the path where you can reassure why you are walking this path, why you are dedicating yourself so much into that. But of course, if there is something that is necessary to intervene, you already know where to act. And so that's going to be talking about in this return of the Trecena, the return where you're going to have like deeper insights about your path. But the more organized you are, the more room you're going to give for this path, for these insights to come, to see like what's going to be the best stuff for your own path. So it's going to be easier for you to see the changes you got to make in the path without, just moving further away from the purposes you built in life. Or if we don't treat as well, we are just flowing with this Trecena. If the Trecena started with the fury, with the bitterness of wanting to change and we don't know anything, 8A, it's only going to mean the return of the melancholy. It's the return of the sadness because you couldn't move. And now E is about to advance. It's just to continue moving on. Even if you have to move backwards, it's still advancing into some stuff. But you gotta keep moving. So 8A is the return of the advance, or to turn to keep moving, to keep your life going, to keep flowing with that. Even if it's not completely perfect, you need to find a reason or something that you need to hold on to be able to sustain into that, at least temporarily. So now 8 Pathfinder is going to be talking about to reaffirm the path you are walking. Or if you're not happy, you can still make the intervention before the accumulation. And then from 8 Pathfinder, we're going to move to Belaer 9 transformation. Now 9, we talk about the inner rivers, something that is running beyond, like hidden from sight, like something that are from doors closed. In the beginning of the Trecena, we spoke about the 2 kame of retracting, to calculate the support we're gonna need for this Trecena, to make the calculations to make work. Now 9 is going to be talking about the gestation. If in the beginning of the Trecena we spoke about like what were making us suffering, or it's going to be like adding like a weight into our heart, now 9 is going to be talking about what is gestating over there. Like maybe you couldn't process, those changes you got to make. So now is going to be, talking about those bitterness, or those bitter sensations, or those things that are incomplete, or that you didn't want to, you didn't have the chance still to do the action to change that. So is going to be talking about the hard stuff, or the gray areas of life that we need to put into transformation because they are incomplete. So it's not like a very happy process. Whenever we talk about now, we can talk about as 9 or is the inner bitterness that we gotta face. It's not all the time that we're gonna be happy and just completely like what is the name in English, like calm, like or really sure about our decisions in life. We always gonna have doubts, and sometimes we're always gonna have the something that we gotta change some stuff. So 9 is gonna be talking about this inner transformation, because we always gonna be having to complete something, to complete this big organization, to handle stuff into relationships, into our personal projects, and everything starts accumulating, things that we are holding on in the inside. If we don't treat that can be something that can add into the bitterness that can be accumulated in the Trecena or that can be adding to this over like accumulation of ideas and overthinking process of the now. So Belaer is it could be the day where you could see like the stuff that is running inside of you, to see if in the organization that we are doing this Trecena, you can solve that. If you can intervene, in order just to remove this bitterness, or to make it easy, this process to alleviate stuff in this Trecena. But now is a necessary process, is what makes us, coming from the sadness into the happiness. Is stuff that is in between, it's like a portal that we need to cross, into the transformation. Now is usually, in Quiché means home, but whenever we talk about the now we always connect to Hadbal, that putting things into transformation. We talked about the process of drying the corn, is the transformation of the corn that's going to be like the food for the entire community. But you have the process of having to dry, to see like if you're harvesting, you're going to be able to use everything. So it's going to be talking about this process of transformation. And so 9 we can also translate as the inner transformation. And then moving from Belaer we go to Laur Ish Balam, 10 Jaguar. Now 10 is the now of the convergence, where everything comes together into one single place, just like many rivers meet into we encounter ourselves in the lake. And now Ishvalam, we talk about the planet Earth, the fertility, like the aggressive fertility, just like the Earth is constantly gestating, just constantly giving birth to many things. So it's the now of the resources, is the material world as well. The material stuff that you have, just like my phone, my house, or my altar, everything that is material is related to the Nawal Ish Falam. So in this Trecena, as we are talking about making this intervention into something and also bring this organization, we're going to be talking now. 10 Ish Falam can talk about economics, the financial aspects that we need to care about. Of course, we need to sustain so many stuff. To sustain the plans, we need to have to converge enough resources to be able to give and receive. And that's the nature of the Now 10, just to give and to receive. Just like the lake that receives the water from the rivers that are coming, but it also gives for the species that lives in the land around the lake, like the animals that goes there and drink water. For the communities, they establish themselves around that to have water for the community. So it's what you give and you take. So Ishvalam, in this case, we're going to be talking about the resources, like how you convert your savings, how and how you're going to spend that into different areas of your life. We're always going to be having like to have resources for emergencies, for example. That's why this Trecena we talked about. We need to be organized, but so we need to synthesize, about the things we are converging with financially as well. Otherwise, it's going to be talking about something that is going to be, boring, like whenever you lose the fertility. If in the beginning of the Trecena you weren't able to open the path like strong spiritually, you weren't able to produce the way you wanted, of course in Ishvalam you're going to be dry. If you don't work, you're not going to be getting money unless like you have like a heritage of something. But it's still you're going to you need to have like a good managing control. So that's how you can use this Trecena to see like where like you are taking money, where the money is going, for you to have something more solid in your structure, not just in your projects, but also in your life, the stuff that you need to pay for, hospitals, or to eat, whenever you go, or for traveling, for finding your path, to sustain the path that you chose. Or if you need to do an intervention, you need to have enough resources to be able to do that. So that's what the 10 Ishvalam is going to be talking about. And then moving from Laur Ishvalam, 10 Jaguar, we're going to go to Hulaur Tikin, 11 Eagle. 11 Eagle is going to be talking about spreading the expenses. It can be talking about like the spread of the straightforward actions. Now 11 is just like the spill water, like doesn't have like a single direction to go. It can go to any direction. Sometimes it doesn't have a lot of strength, but now Tikin is a powerful now. It's the now that goes straight forward. If Ishvalam is the now that makes the savings, Tikin is the one is going to be like the treasure of the sky. It's going to be the one that's going to be using the money. It's going to be using the resources. So it's going to be talking about the way that we use. Like it can be a dangerous day for shopping, if you go in Tikin days. So 11 Tikin can be the day where you want to spend money into everything that we see, in all the stores that you see, for example. Yeah, and that can be dangerous as well, especially if you are talking about these controlling aspects of Naor that's ruling this Trecena. Talks about the organization of making conscious actions with the stuff that you gotta do. So we gotta be controlled with our resources, otherwise you're gonna end up extenuating everything. And that's what 11 Tikin is gonna be talking about. Can be talking about the extenuation of your resources if you are not careful enough, but can also talk about where Tikin can be easily disturbed about so many options. Sometimes you want to invest in so many areas at the same time, and that's maybe it's not gonna work if you don't have enough resources. So it's a day for you to try to be controlled, try to be focused, even though 11 is not gonna be letting for you to go into a single direction. It's just like whenever we need to hold ourselves of something that we saw that we really want that. So it's about like how it's going to be the power of the focus. We're going to be seeing like if we're really focused into something, like if we are able to apply or to direct the focus for something that we want to achieve, maybe for this path we are walking to life, for a personal project, or maybe for something in a personal relationship. It's going to be about how you're going to direct this focus, even whenever there are so many options coming for many directions. And that can be a challenging day, because remember at the beginning of the Trecena we spoke about the now 4 seed that talks about how we're going to dose stuff, like how we're going to dose the resources as well, and also the now 5 fire that was talking about where things can go sideways. Sometimes you accumulate resources, but if you don't have like a good control, things can go sideways. You can end up burning yourself. You can end up, just putting yourself in something that you don't have to go through. So that's the dangers of now 11 to king. And then moving from 11 to king, we go to Kablaur Ahmak 12, complementarity. Now 12 is going to be talking about what comes as a surprise in the Trecena. Comes as something that's going to be like it's the hidden balance. If something went sideways, sometimes now 12 can be something that surprisingly, makes like, it brings the miracle, as a way to say. It's going to be talking about the extra stuff that you can bring in order to balance stuff in the Trecena. In Ahmak, we talk about the deal. We talk about like the now that joins the complementary forces, just like the female jaguar and the masculine eagle. Acting here. Hang on, guys.